My family mocked my guitar job, then my mentor left me millions, so they wanted me back. I was the family disappointment for as long as I can remember. My cousins were straight A kids with scholarships and big career plans. I failed math, skipped class, and got suspended for dumb stuff. I lasted 1 semester in college, dropped out, and took a job at Guitar Center. After that, every holiday turned into a public roast. At Thanksgiving, my Aunt Susan would brag about her kids, then point at me and say, "And Marcus is still doing retail, right?" At Christmas, they handed out nice gifts, and I'd get a cheap gift card, if anything. In family photos, they shoved me to the back like I was in the way. The worst was my cousin Tommy's engagement party 2 years ago. I brought my girlfriend Sarah because I thought having a nurse beside me would make them act normal. Tommy's fiancé asked what I did, and I said I managed the vintage guitar section. She laughed and said, "That's cute," then turned away mid-sentence. A week later, Sarah dumped me and said, "I need someone more ambitious." That was it for me. I stopped going to family events, blocked most of them online, and moved into a tiny downtown apartment. One afternoon, I saw a sign at an antique mall that said, "Guitar repair downstairs." I went down the stairs and found Eddie's basement shop full of old guitars. He was older, loud, and picky, and he treated every guitar like it mattered. I asked if he needed help, and he said, "Only if you can be careful." He gave me a beat-up Fender and watched my hands while I cleaned it. When I finished, he nodded once and said, "Come back tomorrow." I kept coming back. After my shifts, I'd sit at his bench and learn how to spot fakes, fix wiring, and bring dead electronics back to life. If I rushed, he'd make me undo it and start over. "Slow hands save good guitars," he'd say, tapping the wood. Still, he paid me fair and talked to me like I wasn't a joke. For 3 years, Eddie felt more like family than my actual family. My mom would text, "Call me," like I was a problem to fix. I ignored it. Then one Thursday morning, I unlocked the shop and the lights were already on. Eddie was on the floor behind the counter, breathing hard and gray in the face. I called 911, held his hand, and kept talking so he'd stay with me. At the hospital, he grabbed my wrist and whispered, "You're the only one who understood what these guitars meant." He died that weekend. A week later, a lawyer named Mr. Henderson called and told me to come in right away. In the office, the lawyer slid a thick folder toward me and said, "Edward named you as his sole heir." I laughed because it sounded wrong. Then he listed it all: the guitar collection, the building, his investments, and about $4.7 million in accounts. My mouth went dry. Eddie had never hinted he had that kind of money. Mr. Henderson handed me a handwritten letter from Eddie. He wrote that I saw the guitars as more than price tags, and he wanted me to take care of them and myself. I sat in my car and cried until my head hurt. Within 2 days, my phone started blowing up with names I hadn't seen in years. Tommy texted, "Heard the news. Let's grab dinner. I've got investment ideas." Aunt Susan wrote, "Marcus, honey, I've been thinking about you so much." My mom called sobbing and told me she was sorry, and she always knew I was special. Tommy's fiancé sent a friend request with a message about reconnecting. Then Sarah texted, like the breakup never happened. I saw the news. Coffee? I didn't answer any of them, but my mom kept calling, and finally she said, "It's my birthday on Sunday. Please come. Everyone wants to celebrate you." So I went. I put Eddie's letter in my jacket pocket and drove to my mom's house. The second I walked in, people rushed me like I'd won an award. My mom called me guest of honor and made them watch me cut the cake. Tommy slapped my shoulder and started talking about smart moves before I even sat down. My uncle asked what kind of returns I was getting and if I'd help the family invest. Across the room, Sarah stood by the snack table, smiling at me like we were fine. Tommy leaned close and said, "So what's the plan with all that money?" Aunt Susan jumped in fast and said her daughter needed help with a house down payment. Tommy's fiancé laughed and said, "Family takes care of family, right?" I set my drink down, pulled Eddie's letter out, and held it up. I said, "Before anyone asks me for anything, you're going to hear what Eddie wrote." The room went quiet. I read the line where he said I was worth more than my family ever realized. My mom's smile froze. Tommy's eyes narrowed. I folded the letter and said, "Eddie left this to me because I showed up when nobody else did. I'm keeping the shop and the collection, and I'm not handing out checks. If you want me in your life, it starts with respect, not with a speech and a handout." I turned, walked out the front door, and let the silence stay behind me. Now they're calling me selfish for saying no to them. Was I wrong?